Make sure the sound is not 100% all the way up. Blast my ears. And just like that, we're live. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, Robert Michaels. Glad that you're here. Super stoked about tonight's episode. Brad Gunnuscio is with us all the way from Utah. He's live streaming from the top of the hill. He was just saying that it might be flyable over there, so we might get some pilots flying around in the background, make us all jealous. Oh, yeah. Nothing like a good Thursday night with Paragliding Talk. So glad that you're here. If you're new to the show, I want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button. If you're checking out this episode after the fact, I'm stoked that you're watching. I don't give a shout out enough because I think more people watch the show after the show. And many people actually listen to just the audio on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all these other places. But if you're one of those folks, thank you. If you want to continue seeing the show, I'm going to hold you hostage for a second. We need you to support the show on Patreon and PayPal. If you want to do that, that'd be amazing. We were just talking before the show. I've got incredibly slow internet, and I need to step my game up to the Starlink, and I'm trying to get the show to pay for that. If you want to donate to that, you can do that through the Patreon or PayPal, or even through the Super Chat. Really appreciate those guys that have been supporting the show for the last year and the episodes in the past. Really appreciate those guys. We need some new folks. We got people that moved on. They're like, hey, I supported the show for like 2 years. They turned their $5 cup of coffee support off. And so we need some new supporters to step in. If you want to do that, that'd be amazing. Keep the show going, keep everybody flying safe. I want to mention a couple sponsors. One of those sponsors is PPG Smoke. PPGsmoke.com is the website. If you haven't gone to PPG Smoke's website, you should. Some really cool stuff. One of the things that Ryan talked about when he first started making stuff, he's an engineer and he's designed all kinds of cool stuff. Well, he said, I noticed that the cost for a chase cam is astronomical. They were like $80 and for a chase cam. And I'm like, yeah, it's a little piece of plastic that holds your GoPro. Why is it so expensive? And he says, well, sometimes it's research and development. Sometimes it's just people being greedy. And he goes, I'm going to change that. And he started making stuff for us. And he doesn't need the money. He works for, at the time he worked for Google, and he just has this vision for making cool stuff for his friends and anybody who's a pilot. He's like, that's my friends. And so he started designing the stuff and then putting it out there and not really making money just to keep it, just to keep the business alive. So now he's created like chase cams, lamels, the PPG smoke for your paramotor. He made the Unity headset, and version 2 is out, and it's pretty awesome, and just it doesn't stop, and it's for us. So anyways, ppgsmoke.com. Go check that website out and buy something from him. Also want to mention Harley Milne. He runs a school here in Southern California, and he's a world record holder for flying coast to coast across the United States. He's got the record right now. So with a paramotor, super cool. If you want to get training, you by him, he will train you. And he's also he did the 50X challenge where he flew in every state in the country, which is pretty neat. And so with that, oh wow, looks like a dust devil or a gust front coming in, huh?
This dust, yeah, with no power.
Is there pilots in the air?
No.
Oh,
thank
okay,
God.
good.
Look at that. That's gnarly.
Yeah, that is gnarly. I'm gonna boost your screen real quick.
Robert, put it on Brad's view.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do right now. Speaker, let me see here. Pin spotlight for everyone.
Oh,
look at that.
That's insane.
Gus front, hit the deck. John Wayne donated $20 to Super Chat. He said, thanks for being you. Thank you, John Wayne. I appreciate you, and thank you for being you. Will Fly donated $5 to Super Chat. He said, Resurgence PPG rocks. Love paragliding talk. Thanks, Will Fly. Appreciate that contribution. So the other Harley Milne, his school is dreamlifterparamotors.com. Go check him out, support him if you want to get some training. Great place to get trained. Also, Andrew Fuller has a full service wing repair and checkup shop. His website, there's links in the description, by the way, but paraglider-inspection.myshopify.com. Go check that out if you need something fixed. Maybe you got a glider that you got chopped up by your prop or something like that. That leads me to paramotorprops.com. If you need a new paramotor prop, they are one of our sponsors. If you're looking to get great deals anyways, paramotorprops.com, best deals on the interwebs. So now, Brad, you've got some deep, rich history in paragliding. If you don't know Brad Gunnuscio, I want to encourage you to just mention his name in any flying circle, and you're going to hear maybe some myths, but mostly really good feedback. Brad just has an amazing history in the sport, has competition kind of on lock. I would say that he's if you're wanting to compete in any level, at some point you're going to have to cross paths with Brad Gunnuscio, and he's going to give you a run for your money. But also he's an SIV instructor, and so he teaches on a regular basis over the water on radio. Has just an incredible flying site right in his backyard, constantly involved in the community, has just a great background. And so welcome, Brad. So appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
As always,
I want to fire off the first question, and this is more of a personal thing. There's this new hot thing that's happening. It's with the two-liner sea gliders now.
Yeah.
And I have to hesitate to just jump all in. Everybody's, I'm flying a D wing now. It's a, I moved into the D category. I'm flying the Mantra, the M7, and I love the wing. It's incredibly efficient. It does everything I want. I was spending just all my time on speed bar with my Alpina everywhere I went, and I would stay up with the guys. But there's these after work times when everything's dying off. I didn't make it for the big burst of the day, and so I'm just flying glass off, and I need that extra performance to enjoy my 1.5 or 2 hours that I get after work. And so anyways, I'm really enjoying it. But give me your immediate thoughts on the new two-liner sea gliders and any feedback. And before you answer that, Shane donated $20 to Super Chat. Thank you, Shane. He said, love the show. Thank you, Robert, and the moderators for your continued dedication. I learned something every week. Thank you, Shane. Me too.
Yeah, thank you, Shane. And so I'm always hesitant when new technology comes out, and I don't buy into just what the manufacturers say, and I like to sit and watch. But I was just up at Chelan at the Nationals there, and I started seeing these sea two-liner gliders, and that's a good place to really test them, because it was 100 degrees and strong thermals, and pilots that I'm not sure should be on them or flying them, and they look like they're amazing. And talking to everybody, they seem to be super solid. I love two-liners. It's really hard to go back and fly a three-liner because you love your Mantra, but once you get on a two-liner, you're going to feel the more pressure in the wing. They're more pressurized, so they're actually less susceptible to taking deflations. And if you take a deflation, it's going to be a smaller deflation because there's so much more pressure in it. But I also heard like people that have gone from the Mantra, and the Delta and these other wings to their C2-liner that, they missed how their other wing turned, how the Mantra turned. You're going to see like the Mantra, you want to keep around for like a fun play wing and turning. And those pilots that have the Delta and Alpina and stuff, you're going to want to keep that wing to play with and to have fun with. because when you get on these two liners, they're more of it's for one thing. They're made to glide. They don't turn good. It's not a fun glider like
Business.
that. It's a
Yeah.
business wing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like
That's a
me.
great point.
It's like me with my Enzo in the backyard. This is a fun place for ridge soaring and cruising around and doing stuff. I never take my Enzo out because it would just be boring, you know.
Yeah.
And so I keep a fun wing. I keep acro wings, or one of my favorite wings is my Delta Kiwi Johnston's Delta that I got. It's like my favorite wing because I can land on my house and do sick rollovers and all this stuff and just have fun with it. You know, you also got to keep
Nice.
into consideration when you come to a two liner that you're going into a maintenance thing too. There's a lot more pressure on the lines. The lines stretch more. You're going to have to do more. You're going to have to change the lines out more often. You're going to have to do more measuring of lines, things like this. They're more fragile of a wing. Like, you really want to take care of them. You want to fold them super perfect every time, things like this. So you got to take that into consideration as well for the everyday pilot. Is that something you want? You know,
That is
I'm not sure
incredible information.
I'm not sure what they're saying on the hours, but I think it's 150 on the Enzo, and I'll push it to 200. But you can feel after 200, like the performance just drops, and you got to, you know, buy new line sets. So I recommend anyone that buys a new two liner order a wing set or a line set with it. So
No
that you have
kidding.
I mean, every time I buy a two liner, I order just a line set because it doesn't cost extra
Wow.
shipping to put it in, just so I have it on standby,
Yep.
you know?
Wow. And line set, maybe $800,
Yeah, somewhere
$1,000
like
bucks.
that. Maybe less. I think less than that. No, I think less than 800.
Really?
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess two liner, your last lines.
You just want to have it, and you want to get good at measuring your lines too. And just because they get out of trim easier, you know, stuff like
Right.
that. But as far as like the safety goes, I just had a student in Chelan, you know, took him from a A to a B, low MB to high MB, the Rush. And he wanted, what is the two liner ozone? I can't believe I forgot the name of it. I forget the name of it. The two liner
Photon.
ozone. Photon.
Yeah.
He wanted the
Yep.
Photon, and I told him, no, don't skip a step. Let's go to the Delta first
Oh yeah. That's a great.
and not skip the step. But he got in the midair in Chelan, had his wingtip ripped off.
Oh,
And
no kidding.
so the only wing that was available was a Photon in his size. Someone said that he could fly it. And I said, well, you got two reserves. We're in Chelan. Don't hang out over the power lines, but let's give it a shot. Let's just be smart about it. And he flew it, and he's absolutely killing it on it and
No
loves it. And
kidding.
he's like, yeah. And he's like, man, this wing is safer, I feel, than my Rush. It has more pressure. He just loves the wing. And so we kind of stumbled onto that, you know, and
Wow.
he absolutely loves it and feels comfortable on it coming from a Rush.
And
You know,
and Rush is not the same Rush as it was 5 years ago. I'm shocked to see people showing up flying right next to the, you know, the two liners at Blossom on the Rush.
oh yeah. Yeah, the Rush is a great wing, but I'm like, man, I'm so happy because I'm just a little traumatized how long I've been flying. I'm a little conservative and cautious with people and my advice that I give. But
yeah.
it worked out, and he loves it. But he's also done a lot of SIV training. He's probably done 6 SIV courses with me, and he did take
Oh, that's awesome.
he did take a big whack on it in Chelan at, you know, bigger than 50%er. And he's like, you know, the training kicked in. I just did what I was taught, and he said it was easy.
Wow.
You know? Yeah.
My
And so I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, Brad. Sorry.
Yeah, and so but as far as the deflations are on the wings, there's just so much more pressure in the glider that it just wants to stay open. and when you get on the three liners and these big fat gliders, they just not as much pressure, and so they're more wingtippy and want to take deflations, and they're made for pilots that have no training, that that they're not going to respond, or they're
Right.
going to be slow to respond or stuff like that. But if you train and you do safety training and simulated incidents training, and you just make it muscle memory and something happens, then they're super easy, and to be honest, even easier.
Wow. I've also heard from a handful of the pilots that have already been flying Xenos and even Enzos that got the Photon looking for that kind of still want the performance, but want to have something that's more fun, like you're saying, less business.
Yeah.
And there's this fine line between, now you've got something that's almost a crossover. And so they have expressed their kind of disappointment in the performance, which I thought, well, it's a two-liner, should be, a spicy meatball, but it's not as spicy as they were expecting, and not maybe not as performy as the Xeno. That's just from a handful of local pilots.
And maybe they're not flying it right either. And also it's the place that you fly it. Like if I take my Enzo out here on this at my site, north side, Point of the Mountain, Utah, you can't tell a difference immediately in the wing. It's like when you go start taking, when you go up and you start taking it into the mountains and stuff, you really start to get an idea for it. What I was seeing is the Photon was keeping up with the Xenos pretty good.
And this is competition.
In competition, my student is convinced that he's faster than the smaller Xenos. He has an extra large Photon.
Okay.
And he was convinced that he's faster, just as fast, and performs right with them. And it looks like a Xeno to me, but I heard it doesn't turn good. And I'm not sure about the other ones. Haven't heard much on the Gin one or these other ones out there, but that makes sense. It's like, welcome to my world. Every time I get these comp wings and the Enzos, like they don't turn very good. They don't crank and bank like my Delta does or something like that. It's made for launching, gliding. They're not easy to kite.
Right.
They're made for bring it up on launch and get off. Don't kite.
Yeah. Run.
It's a one-trick pony.
Yeah, but when that thing's in the air, that's it, man. You're flying.
Oh yeah, but then you're flying. You actually have a wing.
Yeah.
There, with good performance, and there's something to be said about the safety of having performance in the wind.
Yep.
And not being parked, and be able to push your bar and actually glide instead of become a parachute and go straight down.
Yep. Yeah, I like the authority that I have now with the M7. I feel like there's more. I'm flying at the very top of my glider too, and I know that wing likes to be flown at the top, but I like that authority that it's just there's a difference between where I was always on speed bar with the Alpina. Now I'm on this new glider. I'm a little more, I feel like I'm already flying fast and it feels good. And so I don't need to step on the gas so much. So that's I'm really digging it, really liking it. Wow, lots of people logging in, lots of faces. So glad that you're here tonight. By the way, everybody who's in the chat, welcome. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the two-liner changes. I know that they made some changes on the standards for testing, and so they no longer are dinging the glider for having to use collapse lines during testing. So I think that's cool and that's respectable. I think it's a good thing, because you're not, that shouldn't be a loss of points, but especially if you've built in that safety. But I asked this question in a video. does that now bring my M7 technically to a C? Because that was one of the reasons why they dinged the M7. I know that it locks into a spiral as well. Unassisted, you won't get out of it. And that was pretty much, it didn't respond super well on collapse recovery. And I think that was it.
Oh,
I wonder how much of that, the collapse line thing.
well, you
pushed
just
it
need
into
to
the
go
D.
look, and I haven't seen the test results for it, but if it gets 1D, then that's a D glider.
Ah, interesting.
Okay,
didn't know that.
so yeah, if it gets 1D, then that's it. It's a D glider. It doesn't matter about collapse lines.
Okay.
And so if it's
Yeah, I
falling
thought
into that spiral or not recovering, yeah, if it gets 1, that's it.
that was probably it then.
I've had a lot of wings that have just this one fault of it, that it gets a higher rating, and that makes it like that. I'm pretty sure my extra large Delta has 1C. And so other than that, it's a B glider, and that's on full speed.
Wow.
You
Okay.
know, might have 1C or 2Cs, and that's on full speed. Every other time it's a B glider, you know. And so you just got to go look at at that.
Great question came from the chat. I'm just going to fire it off. Fly Swamper. He said, are you a horse trader with your wings, or do you fly them until you wear them out? And if he does, the later, roughly how many hours before you retire a typical wing?
Well, I'm a paragliding gear hoarder. I probably have like 40 wings at my house. So no,
Oh my
I usually
gosh.
for how much that I have so many comp wings here.
So you
It's
could
freaking
probably get some
crazy.
really good deals on his second hands.
I have an R11. I got all the way back Millennium. All these comp wings, how much you can get for them. I'm like, I'd rather keep it and fly it, and I'll bust them out once in a while. And some of them I just had such a great experience on them, and whatever, they helped me grow as a pilot so much that they're like sentimental to me, and so I like to keep them. You know,
Trophy
and
wing.
I'm on my 4th Enzo 3 right now, and
Oh, no
so
kidding.
yeah, and so I'll buy them, do a line set on them, fly them, and then after 300 hours, you just start to see the performance difference. And so at that point, and they start to just perform like crap, and I just feel like they're unsellable. So I have them. You know, I don't want to sell somebody some crappy wing with bad performance. But every once in a while, you'll get a wing, and the new model comes out, and you only have 100 hours, 150, 200 hours, and then I'll sell it. But most of the time, I'm trying to talk my students in, like, when you buy the new wing, keep the old wing as a beat up wing to go fly at the beach in these hardcore
Sandy
places, sandy places, and to train on and kite, and then keep your wing fresh. But there's also something to be said about when you get a new wing, just the more hours you can get on it, the better, the more bump tolerance, and just getting more used to how it turns and the energy retention of it, and just how it handles thermals, and just all that stuff. Just some more hours you can get, you know. And so I have my Enzo, for my old Enzo that doesn't have that many hours, 200 hours or something. I just keep that, and that's the wing I use to fly every day. Wherever, if I want to go cross country or play around, and just keep my competition wing. Most pilots aren't doing that kind of stuff, but still you'll get these sites like Las Vegas. I've sold people wings there, and you know, in 6 months they come back. I'm like, that's not the wing I sold you. That looks like tissue paper, and it's covered in black. And so it's like, no, that's it. It's such a hard sight on the wing, you know. And I'm like, I never want to fly that with my nice wing. So it's nice to have a backup too, in case like something happened to my friend, a midair collision, or you land in the trees or something. It's nice to have. But if you need to sell it and you need the money to jump into it, then do it, you know. But a lot of times too, when someone's stepping up into, like, from a B to a C, I say keep your B in case you're afraid of your C. You can go back.
Oh, that's good advice right there.
Because then you can go back. And so then you're more inclined to be like, no, I love this wing, instead of selling your old wing, getting this new wing, and you have to like it. And just that changes your whole perception of having to, I have nothing else to fly. And so then you're just kind of like, I have to like it or whatever. When it's like, hey, if I don't like this, I can go back to it. People tend to just catch on to their new wing better, like it more, and then end up selling your old wing later.
That's a great point. Let's spin the wheel and give some stuff away. Sean, if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. All right, so no more names in the wheel. I know this is on a time delay, so no more names. Dun, 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 dun.
No more names.
Been told. No more names. No more names. All right, here we go.
You're gonna get a little paragliding goodie bag. So we'll get some stickers, some other stuff. I'll be sending that out to you.
A goodie bag.
This is for, goodie bag. There's a few things that are going to go in that little goodie bag. But I want to talk about Nebraska PPG. So Josh Bowden, he runs a school in Nebraska. If you're wanting to get some paramotor training, you can do that with him. He's got a great little organization over there and just great track record. And he's just an all-around good guy. He's going to help you to get your feet off the ground. You want to do that, reach out to him with the link that's in the description. The spin of this wheel is brought to you by Calamity Kite Clinic. CalamityKiteClinic.com is the website. You want to learn how to ground handle better. That's the best thing that you can do to become a better pilot. Start on the ground, and you'll be glad you did. And it's nice to be skilled with your glider. Nothing more embarrassing than somebody who shows up and gets dragged all over launch and they can't really fly because they didn't spend some time ground handling. Spend some time ground handling with Calamity Kite Clinic. Well, that wheel's greased. I should also mention Lone Star Paramotor. If you're in the Lone Star state of Texas, you can reach out to Ron Turan and his team for world-class training. His website is lonestarparamotor.com. Ron has a great organization over there, so sign up with him. You'll not be disappointed. My screen is completely blurry because of the poor internet connection.
Is this fixed?
It's got to be fixed because Robert won.
Fixed. I call
Congratulations, Robert Michaels. You got a goodie bag. What is your choice to do with it?
Yeah, let's spin
Think
the
about
wheel
what you'll
again,
save on post.
Okay. So I'll remove your name
think
and
about
we'll
what you'll
respin
save.
again.
I have
Agreed?
all these stickers, all this stuff. I have to get this out of here. Yeah, spin it. Spin that thing,
Okay.
man.
There we go.
Yep. That is hilarious.
Nelson's wings.
Nelson's wings.
Read the
Now, if
chat.
he really did win it, then people would be blaming me for actually fixing it.
If you win it again, then we know.
Yeah.
MaxAcro.com. MaxAcro.com is the website. Max Marion. He's got an SIV course that he runs here at Lake Berryessa, not too far from the house. If you want to go and get some good, maybe some acro training, or maybe you want to just step up your skill set, Max he's a world record holder at one point of the infinite tumble, and he'll give you some good training. Go check out his website, maxacro.com.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna have to tell me who the winner is so I can.
I will.
Put it down.
Absolutely. It's
Paragliding Pixie.
Paragliding Pixie, no kidding.
Yes. Congratulations, Paragliding Pixie. You are a winner of goodie bag.
Congratulations.
So Paragliding Pixie
Brilliant.
was actually episode 200. She was on the show, and she's awesome. Yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she actually has one of my wings that I tore up. Actually, my son, I'm going to throw him under the bus. He was kiting in the yard and he got it dragged into a tree, and then he was stuck there and he's like, "Dad," and I was kiting too, and he's like, "Dad, can you come help me?" And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
"All right, I will." But first I buzzed him because we have this little edge. And anyways, pretty funny. Nelson's Wings donated $20 to the super chat. He said, "I finally got so sick of struggling to get my stiff legs into the pod. I've given up and I'm using a bungee. That's awesome. Nelson's
Training
wings.
wheels.
Yeah, training wheels.
That's what I call them. It's a good thing to do when you first get in a pod, just to get
Yep.
used to it. Everyone should just do it right off the first time.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, just
I
your
remember
first
when I got the
time
revelation.
until you don't need it.
Yeah. Fly around for 15 minutes. Just with your
Well, until you could just successfully 10 out of 10 times reach back and get it without the bungee.
yeah.
It's like the most dangerous thing. People launching off and trying to get in their pod right off the launch into a house thermal or something.
Oh, such a good point, man. How many guys, golly, playing around, hands off, just right off a launch, hands off, fixing their stuff. Oh, scares me.
Yeah.
I came to Utah, and Brad had to open up his house for me. I had to come and actually stay the night there because I had some kind of inner ear thing, and I was completely wasted, dizzy because of it was like I think it was Meniere's, but what do you call that? The crystals in your ears and your equilibrium, all that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
it's a
anyways,
real thing.
that kind of took the limelight away from Tony, who I went there with, who had a collapse right on launch and got completely wasted from like 20 feet in the air. And no mistake. I mean, I could argue that he could maybe have checked the brakes quicker, but it happened lightning fast. He was hands on, and because of his reaction to, jab the brakes, he did recover just as he was hitting the ground. So it looked really gnarly, but I had it on film. And so that video is still floating around the internet. But some guys, man, they're completely hands off for the first like 15 seconds, just trying to get situated. Eesh.
Yeah, a lot of times it's just hard for me to watch. But the gliders have gotten so unbelievably safe now that people are just getting away with it over and over, but they're building really bad habits. But back in the day on the wings, if you did that, you're just going to kill yourself. And I think we should just perfect it. Our technique on everything, on how we get in our harness, our launch, how we even take our wrap on our brakes. People don't even think of that. It's like the small things. Like you need to be in tune with that glider every second, and you're higher than you feel comfortable falling from, which I'm getting older now. It used to be felt like 10 feet. Now I'm like, 3 feet, nothing over 3 feet.
It's so true. Yeah, there's times when I think, oh, you know what? I kind of over or underestimated when I'm coming into land, and I'm like, I would have brand new me would have full stalled right there and just landed. Or now it's like I want to be about a foot.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about comp flying. You have such a great track record of competition flying, such a long history in competition flying in the States, out of the States, all over the place. What would you say that was the most, what was the thing that caught you off guard the most about comp flying? And it can be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the air, or maybe it's, who knows, the water and I don't know.
Well, I remember my friend and I doing our first comp, and we were actually really good cross-country pilots, and doing flights over 100 miles and stuff. And we thought we were going to go kick butt, and then we're at the bottom of the list. And it's because it's you got your good cross-country pilots, and then you got your good comp pilots, and then sometimes both. But it's a total chess game in the air. You got to start playing the game. When I finally figured that out, and I grew up playing chess and on the chess club and going to nationals for chess and everything. And so when you start thinking of it like that and being strategic and stuff, and then dropping your ego and getting rid of that, go, you just want to go and stuff. And so many times I've done that, and it's like, why did I do that? I was kicking butt. I should have just waited for help. And so it's that whole chess game. knowing when to go, when to say, when you need help, when you don't need help, all that kind of stuff. But really right now, the thing that gets me is just how aggressive pilots are in the thermals. And, you know, it's been like that a lot of times at World Cups and World Championships and stuff like that. But like just up in Chelan, I couldn't believe how, you know, I'd be sitting there thermal and grab a thermal and it's like, here comes 30 gliders just coming right at me and not going to stop and just blow me out of the thermal. And I'm just like, it's not worth it. I'll just go. And so many of the tasks there in Chelan, I would just stay at the middle part of the sky, and just because it was chaos up there. And I was like, people are going to get in mid-airs. And sure enough, like my student got in one, and I had a guy hit me as well. And I got in a little mid-air, but yeah, he hit me.
What the heck?
Yeah, just people coming straight at you. And I'm
Wow.
just like, so I would stay at the middle part of the sky, around 8,000, 8,500 feet, and wait until like 12 minutes before the start and get up and like, I can handle 12 minutes of this aggressiveness. So it's just crazy. And it's just rude, you know, and I wish I knew each one of them. It sucks everyone flies like the same colored gliders and stuff. It's hard to know who's who.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like,
they all look the
but
same.
it's just it's rude once you come in and blow someone out of the thermal, and it's all in the name of fame and glory, and to get like a little glass bowl or some crappy little trophy that you don't even get money for. It's like, come on. And besides that, it's disrespectful and rude. And so that's the thing, you gotta be willing to put up with flying with people and that kind of stuff, and the things they do. And most people don't want to deal with that. They want to cruise around. They like the solitude of flying.
Yep.
You know, getting up in a thermal, flying on your own, not having to deal with that kind of stuff.
I've flown with maybe 10 people at one time in a thermal, and I thought that was like it felt like I was in a competition. But describe what it's like being in a thermal with 100 pilots.
Oh, it's noisy. You can hear everything because the thermal brings it all up. So you hear people yelling and all this stuff all the way through. And if you get a gaggle of respectful pilots, it's amazing. You're just on the merry-go-round, you know, and you got all these awesome pilots that are doing it. And so, but you always get the one guy that's like, I'm going to climb faster, and just cuts through and blows everybody out or something. But if you don't have that and everyone's just cruising up and climbing, it's a beautiful thing, and it's well orchestrated, and it's awesome, and it's fun to get to the top with all these people, you know. And you're just it is exhilarating. It's just when people start going and turning the other way and things like this.
How do you know when to go?
When to go what?
Leave the thermal.
When you, well, that's a good question. Depends. Are you going cross country?
You're
you're going in a comp.
You're in a competition. You got a whole group of guys, and you decide, you know what? Now I'm gonna go, because
that's why it's good to launch early in the task and you start to get the feel of the thermals, and where is it climbing fast and when does it start to peter out and go slow. Because a lot of people, oh, my vario's still beeping, but I'm going, and you know, we'll get to go and you'll be there waiting for them, and it's like, oh, it was still beeping, and it's like, yeah, but it would cut off. It would go from 6 meters a second to 1.5 or 2. And so I'm not going to wait for that. I'm going to bust ahead and get to the 6 meters. So you start to get the altitude, you get the feel for when it's doing that, when it's starting to peter out.
You ever have an issue mid-flight where, like you said, you had a mid-air? Have you ever had to meet somebody on the ground afterwards and have some words?
No, I mean, because many times I thought I'm going to need to, but then you fly and you forget about it. I'm always in the moment, in the positivity, and I'll forget, you know, and I'll forget later to go find them. But I've said that in the air, like, I'm going to come find you. We're going to talk.
Oh my gosh. Brad Gunnuscio is not the guy you want to have against you. He's a monster. He's so ripped. He's flying the biggest glider. Might as well be a a tandem Enzo, I would not want to
Yeah, I
be on
don't-
the wrong side
If
of
they, hey, if
Gunnuscio.
they would make it bigger, I would buy it. I want the XXL.
Yeah, yeah.
I have to take the very minimal stuff with me to fly that. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So you've got now like how many I'm just guessing 50, 100 comps that you've been in? You probably don't even know.
Probably a lot more than that,
Really? Oh my word.
for sure.
So,
Yeah. I mean,
so
if I
let's
showed you my trophy case, there's got to be over 30 trophies in it. And then it
oh,
took a
that's
long time
amazing.
to learn the chess game.
Do you instruct guys that could somebody come to you and say, "Hey, I want to become a excellent
Comp pilot.
comp
Yeah,
pilot,"
I do it
and you'll
every
train them?
year. I do a thermal course every year in Colombia,
No
and
kidding.
uh, and I have people that come, and I've taken people. I took um, Jared Anderson was actually one of my participants, and he came year after year, and I took him from a B glider all the way up to a comp wing, and then I taught him how to thermal. And
Wow.
he'll tell me, "You taught me how to thermal," and he beat me in nationals one year. I can't remember, and for me, it was amazing. You know, I think I got second. He got first. And I taught him how to
Wow.
thermal, and for me, it's a win-win situation. You know,
So
and
the real
so
question is,
pilots can come to my Columbia course, and then you keep coming, and every day we call a task, but we let them know the task is to have fun and be safe. But if you want to fly this task and do it, and if you want to cut off a turn point or something, you can. And pilots will show up every year and have like a higher performance wing, and we'll keep taking it. We have Raul Penso, who's in the X Alps 3 times, and
yep.
Venezuelan champion, amazing pilot, amazing instructor, and I got other amazing instructors. So it's not just me; it's a whole system, and we do talks. Different instructor will talk every night, um, and yeah, we'll take you to whatever level you want to be. You want to become national champion? We can get you there. Excuse me, I gotta get my cat, but keep talking.
That is awesome. So if they want to sign up for a course, they can find you on the website. There's a link in the description for Brad's website. And then also you can probably reach out to him on Facebook Messenger. But
SIVclinic.com, and just go to Columbia, and you can sign up there, put your deposit down, and it fills up. It's always full.
wow, that is awesome. When do you load that up? When does that go on your
It's
website?
it's on now, February 2nd.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh, no kidding.
it's already like halfway full.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, it's time to if you want to get that training, now's the time. Get signed up. Wow, that's awesome. Perfect timing. So with that training, obviously, this
That's our
is
finca. That's where we stay. But that's changed every year.
beautiful.
It's upgraded. They take the money that I give them and put into it and make it
Oh,
bigger,
that's
more
awesome.
beautiful. We have a jacuzzi now and all sorts of stuff.
By the way, if you're going to Utah, Brad has an Airbnb. You still have the Airbnb, right, Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got
I
a
shut
really nice Airbnb.
I shut it down for the summer to let pilots come and rent the rooms individually, and you're 20 feet from launch, and you have a private hot tub.
Yeah, your own private hot tub. I mean, it is really nice. You can go back. There's one of my I posted a video on Red Rocks, and you'll see just a little bit of that in the video. You should go and check that one out. So, a couple more questions. We're almost out of time, but I wanted to ask some. What advice do you have for the first time SIV pilot that's wanting to go and test it out? We have a lot of paramotor people that watch the show, and they're on the fence about going and doing some training. Is there any advice that you have for them? Something you can offer them?
Yeah, I mean, you want to be particular which SIV course you go to. I don't even like to call my course an SIV course because there's so many schools around the world kind of giving it a bad name and scaring people. And I don't want to scare the pilots. I want to give them confidence. And so I'm doing something different. And so I call it a safety course. And so I don't want to scare them. Everything is, we talk about, we go through your gear, we go through your reserve, you learn more about your gear than you ever have. And then, yeah, and then we talk about every maneuver before you go. And so you have a game plan before you go. And so you can decide if you want to do it or not. And like, I don't let people full stall on their first course anymore. I was, I've been against it for a long time, but I'll get people that'll talk me into it. And that's always when like the scary stuff happens on the full stall. And that's an advanced thing. And we need to be patient and wait for it. And
Right.
pilots are falling out of the sky from and crashing from full stalling. It's deflations and getting in locked in spirals and things like this. And so that's the stuff we do. And so when I work with people, it's like I work on their launching, all that stuff we talked about, the small details, how they take their wrap, how they get in their harness, all this stuff. Okay. And then on top of that, and active piloting, another thing is I teach people how to stop the deflations from happening, which a lot of people don't know how to do that. They just hear active piloting, active pilot. I was active piloting, ask them, well, what does that mean? And they're like, I don't know, I was active piloting. It's like, and so I go through it and get them in the simulator. I explain it exactly what active piloting is, and with your body and with your hands and what you're supposed to do and how to react to stop the stuff from happening, and then how to respond once it does happen, And so everyone's nervous when they show up. I was like, who's nervous? Show of hands. Everyone always raises their hand.
Yeah.
Once in a while, you'll get a guy that doesn't. I'm like, well, he's a liar. But yeah, because you're all nervous. But
or an acro guy that's on his
it.
50th.
Yeah, right. Everyone's nervous when they're going to go. It's because we're going to go do new things that we've never done before. We're going to expand our comfort zone, so it's natural. And it's I'd be worried about someone if they're not nervous about doing it. And so it's nice because I turn that nervousness into excitement, and people are excited to go when they go, yeah, I want to do this, because we do a ground school between every flight, and it can be, sometimes it's an hour and a half long,
Oh, wow.
just explaining it and answering the questions. And so you get up and nothing's thrown at you. I hate winging it and like, oh, I'm just gonna have you do this and that. No, everything, exactly what you're gonna do, which side of the wing, everything, just all the way through.
Calculated.
And if you don't nail it, you go back and you do it again. Sometimes people get stuck and plateau, and it's like, don't let it get you down. And then when they nail it, then I'll catch them up with the group. But the whole thing is just learning your wing, and it's important to know how to handle your wing when it deflates. Pilots will tell me, I love this wing. I'm like, you love it? How does it handle when you take a deflation? They're like, I don't know. I've never taken one. And I'm like, well, how do you know if you love it or not? Because they're all popsicles and lollipops when they're open. It's how does it respond when it's closed? That's the important thing. And so why don't you go find out?
That's awesome.
And so when new pilots come, I want everyone to leave with a swagger, with confidence, but with respect as well. And just know it doesn't matter how many SIV courses you've done, you can go crash if you do stupid stuff in flying conditions that you shouldn't be flying in, and not in the mindset to be flying, and not 100% in the moment. So I talk about all that stuff, kind of the psychology of it, your mindset, and all these kind of things.
There's so much to it. I mean, we fall, deep in love with this sport in the beginning, and you can find yourself, it's like you didn't realize who you decided to date, and you find out that that girl you're dating might want to kill you, and it can scare you out of the sport,
Yeah.
you find out things that you didn't know, or you, like you said, calculate what needs to happen. You learn a little
We've
bit at a time. And
we've all had wings, but most people are flying the unknown. They don't know their glider, and they've never done safety training. And people have been flying for years. Every other form of aviation, everybody does that first. That's the first thing you do. I have pilots, military pilots that come through, all that stuff, and they say they do safety training, simulated stuff first before they move on. That's crazy that we don't, you know. It's because
So
people are
true.
afraid to go do a course. And so I tried to get safetycourse.com because I really don't like the term SIV,
Yeah.
you know, but it's what everybody knows. And so that's what's up.
Yep. That's pretty awesome. Any message for the veteran pilot? I know you mentioned that they're flying too aggressive in the competitions these days.
No, that's not the veteran pilots. It's a
Yeah.
lot of
Oh,
the
you're right.
newcomers coming up that are just hungry for a trophy. Just remember the important thing of why you fly, and that's to have fun and have new experiences and the camaraderie. And you know, it's not very friendly to fly aggressive, but people are going to remember that. But I'll tell you, it can be a day after the competition, the next week. People don't remember who even won. What they remember is the experiences and bonding with pilots and the fun that they had.
Yeah.
You know, I went to Chelan. I didn't do that good this year, but I had an amazing time. I needed it. It was really fun flying. It was so cool to fly with some bros, and flew with a golden eagle one day and a bald eagle another day. It just super cool and needed
Nice.
it. And that's and so I feel like I won anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, there's no money you get, and you get a trophy. I can't even fit more trophies in my trophy case. I need a new trophy case, so it's good I didn't get
Yeah.
one. And
That's
and
awesome.
most of them, you look at it, they're, you know, they're nothing that special.
Yeah.
Don't risk your life. There's a lot of trophies that aren't in there because I
Played
landed
it
because
safe.
of the conditions. Played
Yeah.
it safe.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
So
what a great show. We're going to go to the after show. If you want to join us, I'm just going to open it up. If you guys can drop that link in there for them, that'd be awesome. I know we didn't get to everyone's questions. I really appreciate everybody in the chat, especially everybody that's been a part of the show for any length of time. If you have a wrench next to your name, you've done something exceptional for the show. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate the supporters on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you for keeping the show going. If you want to support the show, you can do that. Price of a cup of coffee. You learn something that might save your life or save somebody else's life that's watching. And it's just good juju. So invest in your flying and learn as much as you possibly can. Always be hungry. You never come to. There's never a time that we say, I've come to and I know all. You're always going to be learning stuff. Brad will tell you straight up there, every single time you fly, you're going to learn something. Same thing with the show. You're going to learn stuff. So come hang out with us each week, Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific time, paraglidingtalk.com. If I don't see you on the air, I'll see you in there. Have a great night.